this.
They were following the law because they thought that would give them favor
Well,
with
where did they
God.
get those thoughts from?
From
Donnie, you still with us?
I want to say
Wait a minute.
from the Pharisees and the
Wait.
Sanhedrin.
That's right, because you didn't even read you didn't even have your lesson, did you? You're doing a good
You
job.
talking about
though.
last week, right?
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about this week's lesson
This is
right
not
here.
this week.
Don't tell me we on deliverance from bondage.
I know. I wasn't in Genesis 4, something like that. I was reading.
What are you talking about?
Is this? Wait a minute. Let me read this. Oh man, I was reading the first 5 books of the Bible. I thought
What they got to do with this?
I thought it was Genesis instead of Galatians.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going by.
Donna, did you read the lesson? Donna, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh.
Yes, I read the list.
Okay, do you know why Paul was speaking specifically to just the Gentile converts at the church at Galatia? And you had the Jews that were converted to basically Christianity. And then you had the Gentiles, those that didn't know God, that was converted to basically Christianity. But do you know why Paul is addressing them in this particular part of the lesson? I mean, the letter that he wrote? You know why?
And not
Yeah, go ahead. And not the Jewish ones.
no.
The reason why he was addressing them was because other Jewish teachers had came in and was teaching them erroneous or wrong doctrine about how you get saved.
Yeah.
Those false teachers came in and told them basically, don't listen to Paul. If you want to be saved, you got to obey the 10 commandments. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to get circumcised. And then you will have favor with God. When Paul had already preached, all they had to do was believe that Jesus Christ was Lord.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that's why he's specifically addressing. See, that's why I like the heading. I read the heading over these scriptures right here in the Good News Bible. It says Paul's concern for the Galatians.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Now, here Paul was speaking specifically to the Gentile converts in the Galatian churches. The apostle took them back to the time when they did not know the true God at all. They had worshiped so-called gods, their little idols, that were nothing more than man-made images. So that's how they started out. All right. Now, similar to what these converts was doing, the Jewish believers had previously been enslaved themselves. And how was that? They was enslaved to the law keeping. So the law, the law of Moses, the 10 Commandments and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
It says this is what they did. They perverted it into a way of salvation instead of a place. They converted the law keeping in a way of salvation into a way of salvation in place of faith.
Yeah.
So they were saying, no, you don't need to have faith. You need to have works. You need to, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's ox, his ass, his wife, or anything like that. Then you'll have favor with God. You see?
Yeah.
You see what Paul's dilemma was?
Yeah.
He's trying to teach. He had preached them free. And then we got the Jewish religious people that came behind the Jewish leaders and preached them to bondage. Now, I tell you, the devil is mad when you get saved. Now, he went through all of that. The enemy went through all of that to raise up some Jewish leaders to come and try to confuse the church.
Yeah.
So sometimes there's some leaders that are in place that are confused themselves, and they're confusing churches, the members of the church, because they're in bondage themselves. Yeah. It's best that we all just get free first.
Amen.
Amen. Let the church say amen. So when you have a church that has a bunch of leaders that are bound, my God, what's happening? The same thing that was happening here. They will preach you right into bondage.
Yep.
Don't let them preach you into bondage. Stay free. Whom the Lord has set free is free indeed.
Yeah.
You know?
Uh-huh.
Okay, moving right along. And I didn't have none of that in my notes. Okay, now let's look at verses 9 and 10. They were returning to a new form of spiritual bondage. When they did this, if they continued to listen to those Jewish leaders that came behind Paul and tried to reteach them and repreach them into bondage, because their way of thinking, which was messed up principles, didn't we say something about that in the opening? Well, what did I say in the little opening? It was something about principles. Hold on. Yeah, I did say something about. I'd have to find it. It was somewhere in there. But when you get erroneous principles that are under error, it can really cause a lot of damage.
Yeah.
You know? So let's go on. Let's continue and look at verse 9 and 10. I'm going to read verse 9 and 10. It says this. Now, this is Paul still speaking to these converts. He said, but now after that ye have known God. So after you got born again and you got saved, or rather are known of God, because God, you know, you don't find God, God find you. God know exactly where you are. He ain't got to find you. He know you ain't lost. I mean, you know, he know where you are. He said, how did you turn, or how turned ye again to the weak and beggarly elements, whereunto you desire again to be in bondage? Like, why you desire to be in bondage? You just came out of that. Okay? It's because of those leaders that confused their little minds with that false teaching. Then he said, this is one of the things that they were doing. He said, you observe days and months and times and years. Okay? Now, he's probably relating this to the festivals. The New Moon Festival, the what's the other one? First Festival of First Fruits, and the Wheat and Barley Harvest festivals, and all of those. Okay? And when I read that, I thought about Pastor Paul.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah. Let me stop.
That was given. No, you ain't got to stop it because they don't know what Paul I'm talking about.
Okay.
Okay. But I just said I thought about it.
Yeah.
Because if you're Jewish and you want to continue with those are fine. But you don't put it to the point of the converts that if they don't do it, they won't come in the right standing with God.
Yeah.
Because that's not true. Because salvation is by what? It's through grace, but it's by faith.
Yeah.
Your faith, which is trust and line, depending on God, plus what? Plus nothing.
Yep.
Not plus you observe every feast and do this and do that and do the other. Okay? So now, our expository said, having reminded his readers of their previous enslavement. So Paul here is reminding the converts at the church at Galatia about their previous enslavement to hopeless rituals, a bunch of rituals that amount to nothing. And you know what else I thought about when he was talking about hopeless rituals? Those Women Day programs, those certain programs that we always have every 6 months. You do this, every year you do that. Now, what in the world has that got to do with a life of freedom in Christ?
Yeah, nothing.
Really?
Nothing.
Paul then then what make it even worse is if they make you think that if you don't have the money to buy that white dress and that flower, that you're no more good. That's no different than what these false leaders was doing to those Gentile converts in the church of Galatia.
Yeah.
And what was they doing? Preaching and teaching them back into what? Bondage.
Yeah.
All right, Paul then pointed out that they had been freed from this bondage from coming to know God. Y'all was free when you came to know God. You ain't had to be entangled in that yoke of bondage. You ain't had to worry about whether you celebrated the New Moon Festival. Just live a life of love. Okay? The sad irony was that these Galatians